Should we start from the power supply side? Did you check? Is it on? It's on, it's on. After turning it on, you usually switch to Chinese or English? English. I can't understand what's on that side. Sigh. Let's start with Chinese first, so I'll explain it in Chinese. Enter the system and then start the test. First, I need to set up your protective gear. In other words, how long do you want to grind for? There's a parameter page, the second page of parameters, and the first thing is to adjust that. For your steps, how much do you need to send this time? For example, if it's 50, then set it to 50. Okay, now that's done. Then go back to the manual page and test it. Just press it once and it will send. Move it 15, take a look. Now try moving the small vehicle. When it moves, it will be 50. Right here, there's a manual feed and a manual retract. Here, feed just means moving forward. And retract means backward. This specific handle right over here is also responsible for controlling the forward and backward motion of the machine. Just like this action here moves it forward. Next week's house. Alright, the manual function works fine. You can use it to relax this to loosen it. Over here, there's a loosen and clamp function. Loosen it here, and at home you can directly control this outside part. The switch replaces it. If you switch it to the lever, it will loosen directly, and you can see here that it's a loose board. If you want to return it home from here again, it can't be pulled here anymore. Yeah, once it's clamped, you can't pull it here anymore, it's locked. The material can't be pulled anymore. Usually before feeding the material, set it to loosen, then thread the material through here. Let me explain the manual page to you. Also, usually after manual testing is done and everything is okay, you switch back to the automatic page, right? In automatic mode, it's currently stopped. Now, if I want to start automatic, this button controls the loosening, switch it over, and this one is for automatic feeding, switch it over as well. Then press the automatic start button. Then it will start automatic cycling here. During automatic cycling, this means that we're using this limit switch as a substitute. When you press it, it will move down. Press it again, and it will move down again. This function is the automatic loosening function. When you press and hold it, it will automatically loosen. Then it will clamp tightly. Right? This is the distribution of the automatic mode, correct? Later, when you fix it, you'll connect it directly to the normal terminal. And here on the first page of parameters, there's a production quantity setting. So for example, if you want to set a quota, let's say you want to make 5,000 pieces, then you set it to 5,000. When it reaches the 5,000th piece, the machine will stop and won't continue feeding. At that point, you must remember to reset the production quantity. Set it back to whatever the original number was. The manual speed is just that one. The handle, the speed, this 50% can be adjusted. If you think 50 is too fast, you can set it to 40. And then for the automatic speed, if you think it's too fast and you don't need it that high, you can set it to 30% or even 20%. If you think it's too slow, you can adjust it to 60% or 62%. That's fine too. You can adjust this speed according to your usual needs. Normally, we set 50% as the factory standard. As for the cutting time, that's because some air conditioners use the cutting function, but generally, you don't need to adjust these settings. These two at the end usually don't need to be changed, right? Then let's look at the second page. The second page is for setting the length. You don't need to worry about the second and third options. And finally, for the send each section setting, this must always be set to 1 so that it will cycle. If you set it to 2, it will send twice and then stop. Once it stays at 1, it won't cycle. The function of this 2 is like this. For example, some customers want to send 50 pieces of the first batch of material and 60 pieces of the second batch, so this is where this function comes in. It can be used for 51 times, 61 times, 56 times, just like that. The same logic applies to the third one. Generally speaking, if I don't use it, I just leave it and hand it over to you. I want to go to the next page of parameters. On the function page, there's a technical cut and release option here. If all the options for cutting are set to no, it will turn off that function. Manually tap to delete the voice. There's also a disable page here, which is for the feeding signal and related functions. Generally speaking, you haven't needed to use these before, so you don't need to press them, you don't need to touch any of these. That's basically it. That's all the specifics. Is there anything else you want to ask?